Across the steppes of Central Asia, Genghis Khan rose from humble beginnings to forge one of the largest empires the world has ever known. Beyond his military genius and brutal campaigns that reshaped the medieval world, there was another side to this legendary figure, a side marked by the pursuit of pleasures and a chilling delight in cruelty. Known for his numerous wives and even more numerous concubines, his court was a place of luxury and relentless ambition, where his desires set the law. Genghis Khan's insatiable lust and practice of polygamy were notorious. Yet beneath the silken tents and lavish feasts, the Mongol leader also harbored a penchant for psychological and physical torment. One of the most sadistic acts by Genghis Khan was his use of slaves as human shields. Historical accounts mention a practice where captives were forced to march at the head of his advancing army, serving as buffers against enemy arrows and spears. This calculated cruelty protected his troops and instilled fear and intimidation in his opponents. During his invasion of the Tangut kingdom of Xixia in 1209, it was recorded that Genghis Khan used some 30,000 captured Chinese soldiers as human shields, forcing them to bear the brunt of the enemy's defensive barrage. Similarly, in 1223, during his campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia, thousands of Muslim captives were used as human shields, with some even tied to catapults and launched into enemy fortifications. The depths of Genghis Khan's depravity are perhaps most starkly illustrated in his demand for ultimate loyalty, often exacted through acts of unspeakable horror. Slaves were forced to commit unimaginable acts, including the murder of their kin, as twisted tests of loyalty or means to break their spirits. One chilling account recounts the siege of the Khwarezmian city of Otrar in 1219. Enraged by the murder of his ambassadors, Genghis Khan sought merciless retribution. He captured the governor's son and ordered the young man to execute his father before ending the son's life as well. This macabre display of power served as a grim reminder of the consequences of defying the Khan's will. During the siege of Nishapur in 1221, Genghis Khan's wrath knew no bounds. Upon learning of the death of his favorite son-in-law within the city walls, he ordered a massacre of unparalleled brutality. Every living creature, from humans to animals, was slaughtered indiscriminately, leaving the streets red with blood. In a final act of cruelty, he forced his daughter to witness the slaughter, ensuring that the agony of loss would be etched in her memory for all time. The Playboy. While his military exploits are well documented, less is known about his personal life, particularly his romantic entanglements. As emperor, Genghis Khan did not have just one wife, he had many, alongside hundreds of concubines. Each of these women carried rich and fascinating stories, ranging from childhood sweethearts to captured rival tribeswomen, from adored partners to princesses given away in political alliances. The romantic life of Genghis Khan was as intricate and compelling as any of his military campaigns. Some women played significant roles in his life, with one potential suitor even attempting to assassinate him. His 500 wives and concubines shaped his personal world. Throughout his life, Genghis Khan had 7 main wives. His first wife, Borte, was promised to him in childhood through an agreement between their fathers. They married as teenagers, approximately 7 years after the arrangement was made. The next 2 wives came from his military campaign against the Tartars. Genghis Khan supposedly fell in love with Yesugen, who, during the consummation of their union, demanded that he treat her well and marry her sister. He complied, marrying Yesugen and, at her behest, having his men kidnap her sister Yeswei, whom he also married. Genghis Khan's last 3 wives were Moge Khatun, a princess of the Barkan tribe, Ju Arbyesu, an empress of the Western Liao dynasty, and finally, Ibaka Beki, the only wife he would eventually divorce. The most senior of Genghis Khan's wives was his first love, Borte. When he became Genghis Khan, she was crowned the Grand Empress. As his childhood bride and teenage beau, Borte was a hugely influential figure in his life. It is said that Genghis's rescue of her from rival tribes was the catalyst for his rise to power. Borte bore him 5 daughters and 4 sons, all of whom contributed to the expansion of the Mongol Empire. frequently depicted in art as a beauty dressed in white silk and riding a white steed. Borte is consistently noted as a confident figure without peers to the emperor. She was the voice in his ear and the spiritual support behind one of the most powerful leaders on earth. One legend tells of a moment when Genghis Khan and the Grand Empress were in the throes of passion in their tent when he was summoned to deal with invaders from the concubine tribe. The Empress is said to have sat up in bed, covered herself, and given a thoughtful summary of the grim nature of the concubines. Genghis Khan reportedly took her words to heart and left to assist his loyal defenders. This story exemplifies Borte's role as a formidable and influential boss lady in her own right. A common question about the polygamous life of Genghis Khan is whether he truly loved his wives. And this is not an easy question to answer, as we have little more than historical supposition to go on. However, accounts suggest the Mongolian emperor showed genuine care and concern for his wives, particularly his first. Shortly after their marriage, Borte was kidnapped by the Merkit tribe, leaving Genghis Khan devastated. In a poetic reflection, he reportedly said the kidnapping left his bed made empty and his breast torn apart. Borte, his first wife and perhaps his first love, seems to have been a woman the Mongol emperor genuinely loved. A standout story in the polygamous life of Genghis Khan is his marriage to Ibaka Beki. Her union with the Mongol emperor was secured by her father's allegiance to Genghis Khan in overcoming the Naiman tribe. Her sisters also joined the family, marrying Genghis Khan's sons, Jochi and Tolui. Interestingly, despite having taken 6 wives before Ibaka, this marriage ended abruptly after just 2 years. In a particular turn of events, Ibaka was given away to General Jurchedi and remarried. Yet, Genghis Khan still wished her to keep her title and asked for an item from her dowry to remember her by. Was this a reluctant letting go or a sudden yet warm separation? The exact reason for the separation remains unclear. One theory suggests that their childless marriage, which lasted 2 years, might have been a factor, though Genghis Khan already had many children by this time, making it unlikely that he was concerned about a lack of heirs. A viable theory is found in The Secret History of the Mongols, which details that Genghis Khan gave Ibaka to General Jurchedi as a reward for his combat feats, including killing tribal rivals Nilga Sengum and Jaka Gambu in 1203. Another theory from the 14th century Mongol tome, Jami al-Tawarik, attributes the separation to a divine command received in a nightmare. Genghis Khan reportedly believed that God ordered him to give her away, and coincidentally, the general guarding his tent that night was Jurchedi. Mongolian women. In the nomadic tribe-based society of Mongols, women played a crucial and inherently vital role. They enjoyed freedoms and expressions seldom found in other societies. The customs of horseback riding and hunting with a bow were universal rites of passage embraced by women, men, and children alike. Despite their seemingly perpetual movement, setting up and packing up camp was equally important. And in Mongol society, women were indispensable campmasters, constructing the family yurt and ensuring all belongings were either readily available or safely stored on carts were just the beginning. When it was time for the tribe to move, the matriarch would drive the horse and cart laden with goods to the next camp. While men hunted, Mongol women tended to the animals, made cheese and butter, and prepared and cooked food. One of the most arduous tasks Mongol women undertook was milking cows, sheep, and goats. This exhaustive process included churning milk in leather pouches using wooden paddles for hours on end. Indeed, Mongol women were the workhorses of their society, as they have been in many others. However, unlike in many other societies, they were given due appreciation and respect. Drinking to excess was a social norm, and women were both welcome and expected to join in. During social milestones or special occasions, such as the election of a new tribal chief, grand celebratory feasts were inclusive events where the indispensable camp masters were both expected and desired to attend. Female slaves. Genghis Khan's sexual predation knew no bounds, as he granted his sons and generals the privilege of claiming women from the lands they subjugated, further perpetuating a culture of objectification and exploitation. Women were treated as mere spoils of war, their age, status, or religious affiliation having no bearing on their fate. They were reduced to property, existing solely for the pleasure and gratification of their ruthless master. Genghis Khan's disregard for the autonomy and humanity of the women under his control is evident in his willingness to exchange them as gifts or tributes to his allies, further cementing their status as commodities to be traded and bartered at his whim. There is a darker underbelly to the story of Genghis Khan's many wives, unions, tribes, and rule. The circumstances surrounding his death on August 25, 1227, during a campaign against the Western Shah, having long intrigued historians. Various theories have emerged. Some attribute his death to a fall from his horse while hunting, others to an arrow wound suffered in combat. Yet another, more legendary theory suggests a different cause altogether. According to legend, Genghis Khan, known for his many wives, may have been killed by a Western Shah princess. The story goes that he sought to capture this princess and take her as a war trophy. However, the princess was not to be taken easily. It is said that when Genghis Khan attempted to force himself upon her, she had a dagger hidden on her person and used it to castrate him in self-defense. This version of events emerged centuries after Genghis Khan's death, and modern studies have cast doubt on its authenticity. Research conducted in 2021 suggests that the bubonic plague is the most probable cause of the emperor's death, correlating with strains of the plague present in the region at the time. So while legends paint a dramatic end for the Mongol Empire, contemporary clinical knowledge points to a more prosaic cause, an outbreak of the bubonic plague.